They heard knocking. From inside the walls, the structure was never meant to be found. Buried beneath layers of rock forgotten by time and erased from every known map. It waited. Until humans arrived. Signals coming from below this section, Rango said, adjusting his scanner. His voice echoed unnaturally in the hollow corridor. Lolly frowned. This place. It's not just abandoned. It feels wrong. Jampo chuckled nervously. Yeah. Classic haunted house vibes. Let's just grab the data and leave. Baba John, the oldest among them, stayed silent. His eyes traced the walls, smooth, metallic, but oddly warm. Walls shouldn't feel alive, he muttered. No one responded. Because deep down, they all felt it too. They set up camp inside what looked like an old control room. Dust covered everything, but the systems were still faintly active. That's impossible, Lolly whispered. There's no power source. Rango tapped the console. And yet, something's running. A low hum filled the room. Then, knock. Everyone froze. Jampo looked toward the door. Someone outside? Lolly shook her head slowly. That didn't come from there. Another knock. Knock! Knock! This time clearer, closer. Baba John turned toward the wall behind them. It came from inside. Silence swallowed the room. Then Jampo laughed, forcing it. Okay, not funny. Who's messing around? No one answered. Rango activated his scanner, sweeping it across the walls. No movement. No heat signatures. Another sound. Scratch. Like something dragging its fingers. Just beneath the surface, Lolly stepped back. That's not possible. Baba John moved closer to the wall, placing his hand on it. It pulsed. Softly, like a heartbeat. He pulled his hand away instantly. This place isn't dead. Hours passed. No more sounds. No movement. Slowly, tension faded. See? Jampo smirked. Old pipes. Told you. Lolly wasn't convinced. Metal doesn't scratch like that. Rango sat quietly reviewing data. Then his screen flickered. A waveform appeared. Audio. Recorded just moments ago. Guys, you need to hear this. They gathered around. He pressed play. At first, nothing. Just static. Then, a whisper. Faint, broken. Barely human. Hello? Lolly's blood ran cold. That's not one of us. The voice continued. Slow, struggling. Can you hear me? Jampo stepped back. Nope, I'm done. We're leaving. But Baba John didn't move. His eyes were locked on the wall. Because now, he could hear it too. Not from the speaker, not from the recording, but directly from inside the walls. Knock, 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 louder than before. More desperate. Let me out. Rango quickly scanned again. Still nothing. No life signs. I swear there's nothing there. Lolly whispered. Then what is talking? No one had an answer. Like something inside was pushing outward. Jampo stumbled back. That's not happening. That's not happening. Bang! But the wall did. Because suddenly, a deep crack spread across its surface. Thin, the wall shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. The knocking turned into pounding. Relentless. Angry. Bang. 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 And then, silence. Complete. Dead. For a moment, nothing moved. No one breathed. Then Baba John spoke. Quiet, certain. It learned. Lolly looked at him. What? Learned? He turned slowly, his face pale. That we can hear it. Behind them, on a different wall, a new knock echoed. Knock. Not desperate this time. Not weak. Controlled. Deliberate. Like something was choosing where to speak from. And this time, it didn't ask for help. Open the door. The walls remember. The silence didn't last. It never does. For a few seconds, the house felt empty, like whatever was inside the walls had left. Then, a faint sound. Scratching. Not from one wall this time. From all of them. Lolly froze. Baba John. It's moving. Jampo slowly turned in a circle, his breath uneven. The sound followed him. No matter where he looked, it stayed just behind him. Like it was watching. Like it was learning. Then, a whisper. Soft. Broken. Open. Everyone went still. Rango shook his head. No. No, you heard that, right? It said something. Again. Closer this time. Let me out. The voice didn't sound human. It sounded like someone trying to sound human. Baba John's face darkened. He stepped back from the wall. It's mimicking us. Suddenly, bang! A crack split across the wall. Plaster fell. A thin black line appeared, stretching like something was pushing from the other side. Lolly screamed. It's coming through! Jampo grabbed her, pulling her back as the crack widened. From inside, something moved. A shape. Wrong. Too thin. Too long. Like a shadow being forced into a body. And then, a hand. If it was a hand. Pale, twisted fingers too many, bending the wrong way. It pushed through the crack slowly, struggling, like it had never used a body before. Rango stumbled backward. That's not real.
That's not real.
The hand slammed against the wall. Again. Again. Each hit stronger than before. The crack spread, crawling across the wall like veins. And then, the voice came again. But this time, it wasn't broken. It was clear. Perfect. It sounded exactly like Lolly. Pike, help me! Jampo's blood ran cold. Lolly was right next to him. Then, another voice. Baba John's. Open the wall. Then, Rango's voice. Crying. Please, I'm stuck. All of them. All at once. Voices overlapping. Perfect copies. Perfect lies. Baba John whispered, barely audible. It doesn't just hear us. His eyes locked onto the wall. It becomes us. The wall bulged outward. The hand forced its way further through. And behind it, a face began to form. Stretching. Smiling. Too wide. Too many teeth. And in that moment, they all realized the truth. The knocking was never trying to get out. It was trying to get in. The silence after the pounding was suffocating. The air felt thick, almost sticky, and every breath they took seemed to echo unnaturally, like the house itself was mocking them. Baba John gripped the lantern tighter, its flickering light casting grotesque shadows across the walls. The walls weren't just walls anymore, they were watching, breathing, pulsing with a life of their own. Then came the sound. Not a knock this time, a slow, wet scratching, like fingernails scraping wood from the inside. It moved closer, circling them. Lolly pressed herself against Rango, her teeth chattering. It's inside, she whispered, barely audible. The floorboards groaned under invisible weight. Dust rained from the ceiling. Every shadow seemed to stretch, reaching toward them. Rango tried the door, locked. No key, no handle, nothing. Just an unbroken, solid wall staring back. And then the whisper. At first it was soft, almost melodic, but it twisted quickly, becoming something jagged, guttural. Words formed in Lolly's mind, though no lips moved. You shouldn't have come. You don't belong here. Baba John swung the lantern toward the sound. The light revealed a crack in the wall, a fissure that wasn't there before. From it oozed a black, smoky mist that twisted into shapes, faces. Hollow eyes stared back, screaming silently. One face lunged. Not from the fissure, but from Lolly's own reflection in the cracked mirror on the wall. Her own eyes stared back at her, bloodied, screaming, pleading, and then it whispered in her voice, "Stay forever with us." Rango stumbled, tripping over a fallen chair. The room seemed to stretch, elongate impossibly, walls bending as if alive. The whispering grew louder, multiplying. Every crack, every shadow had its own voice now, chanting, circling. Baba John's hands shook as he held the lantern high. "We must leave us now," he yelled, but his voice didn't carry. The walls absorbed it, turning it into laughter, soft, cruel, echoing inside their skulls. Suddenly, the wall beside them bulged outward as if breathing. The nails, the claws, the shadows, they were real now. One clawed hand ripped through the plaster, scraping toward Rango. Lolly screamed, grabbing his arm. Dust and splinters filled the air. They ran where they didn't know. Every corridor led back to the same room. The walls whispered, "You can't escape. You will stay. Forever." Then the ceiling cracked. Something enormous fell from above, something with eyes too many, mouths too wide. It roared, and the ground vibrated beneath their feet. Lolly fell, hitting the cold, damp floor. Baba John and Rango dragged her up, but a shadow wrapped around her like liquid, pulling her toward the wall. Her screams merged with the whispers echoing from every corner. Baba John slammed the lantern onto the floor. The fire went out, Darkness swallowed them, and in the blackness the walls spoke clearly now, in unison like a single entity. The lantern flickered back on just for a moment. Lali, Rango, and Baba John were there, but their reflections in the cracked mirror were not them. They were twisted, screaming, trapped inside the walls, staring at themselves in horror, and then the lantern went out again. Only darkness remained. The house was silent now, but the silence was heavier than any sound. Lali's breath came in shallow, terrified gasps. She clutched the edge of the table as if it could hold her to the real world. Jampo stepped forward, the flashlight shaking in his hand. Shadows danced along the walls, long and warped, as though the house itself was alive. Then they heard it again. A slow, deliberate scratching from inside the walls. Not knocking, scratching. It moved, shifting, behind the plaster, underneath the floorboards. Somewhere, everywhere. Did you hear that? Lali whispered, her voice barely audible. Jampo didn't answer. His eyes were wide, scanning the corners of the room, every shadow, every crack. The sound grew louder, faster. It was thinking, waiting, learning. Then the walls shuddered violently, dust raining from the ceiling. A voice, or something like a voice, whispered through the cracks. "Why are you here?" The question wasn't spoken aloud. It crawled into their minds, cold, invasive, impossible to ignore. Baba John stepped forward, his old hands trembling slightly. "It's not just a spirit," he said quietly. "It's something older, smarter, and it knows you're afraid." Suddenly the scratching stopped. Silence. Then a thud. A single heavy step echoed from inside the walls. Then another. And another. The house groaned. The floorboards beneath them vibrated. Lali screamed as the wall behind her cracked open, a jagged line forming, as if the house itself were tearing its skin apart. A pale, shadowy hand reached through, long fingers curling toward her. Jampo grabbed her and pulled back, but the hand didn't retreat. It lingered, probing, testing. It knows fear. It feeds on it. The lights flickered. A gust of icy wind blew through the room, carrying 1,000 whispers in a language they could almost understand. "Stay or become part of us." Then silence again. But this time it wasn't empty. Something had entered the room with them. Something unseen. Something patient. And now it was inside. "It knows your name." The silence didn't last. It never does. For a few seconds the house felt empty, as if whatever was inside the walls had retreated. But Baba John didn't move. He kept staring at the wall, listening. Then, a whisper. Not knocking, not scratching. A voice. Soft, wet, broken. "Aye, Lali." Lali froze. Her blood turned to ice. "That's not me," she whispered instantly. "That's not my voice." But it was. Perfect. Exact. As if the wall had learned how to become her. "Lali, open it." The voice came again. This time closer. Inside the wall, right beside her ear. Jampo grabbed her arm. "Don't answer. Don't even breathe." Rango backed away, shaking. It didn't just learn. It copied. Bang. A crack split across the wall. Thin, like a vein opening. Dust spilled out. And from inside that crack, something moved. Not fully visible. Just a shape. Like a face pressing from the other side. Stretching the wall outward. Trying to come through. Lali screamed and stumbled back. The wall bulged again. Harder, more aggressive. The whisper turned into a chorus now. Multiple voices. All familiar. Baba John. Jampo. Rango. Open the wall. Their own voices. Calling themselves. Begging. Crying. Baba John finally spoke. But his voice was shaking. "It's not trying to come out." They all looked at him. "It's trying to make us come in." Silence hit like a punch. Then the floor creaked. Not above. Below. Something underneath them was moving too. Jampo looked down slowly. The wooden floorboards were breathing. Rising. Falling. Like a chest. Alive. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no." A loud crack echoed. One plank split open. A black gap appeared. Endless, deep, cold air rushed out. And then, a hand, pale, too long, fingers bending the wrong way. It shot out and grabbed Rango's ankle. He screamed. "Help me, it's pulling me!" They tried to grab him, but the hand was strong. Too strong. Another hand came out. Then another. Climbing. Reaching. Hungry, Rango was dragged halfway into the darkness. His nails scraped the floor, leaving red lines. "Don't let me go!" Lolly grabbed his hand with both of hers, crying, screaming. But then, the voice came again, right behind her. Her own voice. Soft, calm, close to her ear. "Let him go, Lolly." She froze. Her grip loosened. Just for a second. But that was enough. Rango was pulled down. Gone. The floor slammed shut. Silence. Dead silence. No screams. No movement. Nothing. Lolly collapsed, shaking violently. "We lost him," she whispered. But Baba John was staring at the wall again. The room was quiet. Too quiet. Not the kind of silence that brings peace, but the kind that listens. Lolly stood frozen, her breath shallow, her hands trembling. Rango kept staring at the wall, waiting for it to move again. But it didn't. No cracks. No faces. No knocking. Nothing. Baba John slowly stepped forward. His eyes weren't on the walls anymore. They were on Lolly. "Did you hear it?" he asked softly. Lolly nodded. A whisper. Faint. Right next to her ear. Not from the wall. From behind her. She turned quickly. No one there. But the feeling stayed. Like something was standing just out of sight. Watching. Smiling. Rango spoke, his voice shaking. "It stopped." "Why did it stop?" Baba John didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked to the center of the room and placed his hand on the floor. Then he said something that made Lolly's blood run cold. "It didn't stop." A pause. "It moved." The temperature dropped instantly. Lolly felt it. Something shift. Not in the walls. Not in the room. But closer. Much closer. Her heartbeat grew louder in her ears. Thump, thump, thump. Then, a voice. Clear this time. Right inside her head. "Lolly." She gasped and covered her ears. No, it's not real." But it laughed. Soft. Mocking. "You opened it." Rango backed away, terrified. The wall stopped moving. The whispers died. Everything went still. Too still. Lolly slowly opened her eyes. Her ears were still ringing from the screams. From the voices. From them. But now, nothing. No breathing. No footsteps. No Baba John. No Rango. "Baba John?" she whispered. Her voice echoed unnaturally, like the room was repeating her, learning her. John. Lolly's heart pounded. She turned. The hallway was gone. The house was gone. Only one room remained. The same broken room. The same cracked wall. But now, there was something new. On the wall. Written in deep scratches, like carved by nails. "We are free." Lolly stumbled back. No. Her breath shook. "They can't be free." Then, a sound. Behind her. A soft, familiar voice. "Lolly." Her body froze. Slowly, she turned. Baba John was standing there. But something was wrong. His smile was too wide. His eyes completely black. His head slightly tilted. Like something inside him didn't understand how to be human. "Baba John?" she said, barely breathing. He stepped closer. His movements. Jerky. Unnatural. "We were inside," he whispered. And then, more voices joined. Rango's voice. Champo's voice. Even voices she had never heard before. "All of us." The wall behind him began to pulse again. And then, faces started emerging. Dozens. Hundreds. Pushing out. Watching her. Smiling. "We learned your voices," they said together. "We learned your fear." Baba John stepped even closer. His face began to stretch. Crack. Peel. And beneath it, something else moved. Something not human. "You opened the door," it said. And now, a long silence. The entire room breathing with it. "We don't need the walls anymore." Lolly tried to run, but her feet didn't move. She looked down. Her shadow was moving on its own. Slowly, it began to rise from the ground, peeling away, standing behind her. Her own voice whispered from it. "Now we become you." Lolly screamed. But no sound came out. Her mouth opened, but another voice spoke instead.
Help me.
Her own voice, but not hers. The last thing she saw was herself, standing in front of her, smiling, eyes black, head tilted, perfectly still. 3 days later, neighbors finally broke the door. The house was silent, empty, no bodies, no blood, nothing, just walls, old, cracked, dead, until one of the officers heard it. A faint knocking from inside the wall. Bang, bang, bang. He froze. Did you hear that? Another officer nodded slowly. Yes. Silence. Then a whisper, right behind them. Soft, familiar.
Help me.
They turned. No one there. But on the wall, new scratches appeared. Fresh, bleeding into the surface. Let us out.